Boom. Boom. Okay. Let's get the audio going. It sounded actually kind of good last show. I'm not gonna lie. Um, you know what? That's a goal for next week. New beat next week. New beat next week. That's the goal. We got to get something else going on here because this one, it's good. I love it, but my goodness, it's the same thing every time. I rock with it though. Like it doesn't get old to me. But we need a new beat. New beat next week. That's the goal. We're live. Day 3 of training camp. That was supposed to be a book. Don't want to close that, though. We got notes here. And, man, we're going to be diving into the takeaways that we have. We're here a little bit earlier today. Schedule is a little bit different today. So I was like, let's just kind of knock this thing out a little bit early. So let's do it. Let's knock it out a little bit early. It seems like we have a lot less notes, too, that I was able to gather. Like it just seems like we have a lot less there, but still, for some reason, this is kind of a mess to read. That's fine, though. Also, I have a couple graphics for the big news that went down today, specifically with the kicker position, but then also kind of the injury updates, sort of injury updates that we have. I put two kind of graphics together. They're nothing fancy, but there's something that you can look at. I noticed when watching it back, we didn't really have many graphics in our last show, and I want those two things, like news and also injuries, to be something that you can visibly look at. So we have that updated today. And then tomorrow, going to be at training camp tomorrow. So I'll have notes from training camp. Still wasn't there today, but tomorrow I will be. So, and that's the final day. So I don't know. Maybe it's going to be shorter. Might be a little bit different. I don't know. But we're back. Ken is in the building. What's up, Ken? Ryan's here. How you doing, Ryan? Ken again said, hi, how you doing? Oh, no. He said, what's up to Ryan, probably. Okay. Keith, though, we should have kept Turner. Oh, you talking about the kicker? I mean, I guess there's not much you can do with that. You can't really predict the injury there. So what are we going to do? Hold 3 kickers? I guess you could have kept 3 kickers. We do have an open spot. So maybe you can make that case. By the way, James Turner is elsewhere now. Where is he? Is he a Packer? He's a Packer now, I believe. Yeah, and I don't know how he's doing over there. Like, I haven't kept up with any of the other teams, training camp news. So, yeah, actually, I'm going to check it out right now. Rookie kicker James Turner up on day 1 of Packers training camp. Up on day 1. So he might have had a good day on day 1. As long as it takes, we'll keep turning. Okay, so I don't know. I haven't kept up with anything. That's besides the point. Today, what's up, Dennis? I see you, Dennis. Phenom. Is that Phenom or is it Phenom? Phenom. I think that's how you pronounce that. It sounds way cooler as Phenom. What's up? I see you. What's this picture? Okay. I can't tell who that is, but I see y'all. What's up, chat? Ben's in the building. Dose of Dion. Give us our daily hit of Lions. Let's do it, Bo. Bo, it's good to see you again. Boom is in the building. How you feeling? I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good today, man. We got the pizza shirt on. Whatever reason, when I put the pizza shirt on, there's holes in the shirt now, but when I put it on, I feel good. I'm excited. I'm like, let's do it. This shirt's also pretty comfy as well. But I'm also excited that it's Friday. Like, partially because I know that I have to do some like homework and stuff this weekend, which I'm like, I don't want to do that. But it's nice as being Friday, and I'm pretty fired up, man. Like, we're right around the corner from August. Things are gonna go crazy. I think August is Thursday next week. So there's a lot of things that are going to be taking place starting next month, from content side of things, all of that stuff. Like, next week is going to go crazy. So part of me is like, okay, like, let's dial in because it's about to go nuts. The other part, though, is still pretty excited for that because next Thursday is also the opener for the NFL. Not regular season, but Hall of Fame game next Thursday. I looked it up today, 8 p.m. Eastern time. It's Chicago. Is it Washington? Hold up, let me make sure here. It's Chicago. I know it's Chicago because that's the team that stood out, but I think it's Washington. No, it's Texans, Houston. Okay, it's Houston and Chicago in the Hall of Fame game. So, man, we're right there, bro. Thursday next week, we're going to get this thing popping. He is in Green Bay. Okay, good look. I didn't have to look that up. You had it. How did the kicker get hurt in training camp? So, I don't know that. I don't know. I guess from my understanding, it was before practice actually started, maybe. Maybe he was just warming up, and I heard it's a hamstring injury. I saw one report that said it was a torn hamstring. I'm not really good with like body parts and stuff. I would assume you can tear your hamstring, but I don't know if that's exactly what it was. I just heard that it was a severe hamstring injury, which makes sense. That would make sense for a kicker. I mean, could that have happened stretching? I would hope not. That would be a disaster. Let me look it up. How would you... result of muscle overload. running and your leg is fully stretched out just before your foot strikes the ground. So maybe he was warming up. I don't know, man. Maybe he was practicing. It can happen with sprinting, lunging, jumping, overstretch. That overstretch your tendons and muscles. So something like that maybe is what took place. I don't know. We'll probably know more a little bit later, but I do feel bad as well. So if you don't know, the big news there, and I'm just going to throw this on the screen so we can get just sync started with that. We do have another clip today. The Lions have been like teasing us. They're like, here's one clip from today's practice. It is always a good one, but here is one. That's enough. All right, we got you, Lions. So if you didn't know, Michael Badgley, severe injury. He is going to IR. He is out for the season for the Lions, which means that we officially have one kicker, which is fantastic that we have Jake Bates now. It stinks that it's not like that the competition is going to happen like that. Still, I'm a fan of Badgley, so I like Michael Badgley personally. Obviously, the leg isn't always what we want, but I'm a fan of him. So, and any player that gets injured, it's horrible news. The Lions are going to be on the search for a new kicker. We'll talk about the guy that the Lions have reportedly already worked out. We'll talk about him here in a second. And it sounds like, according to Dan Campbell, there's going to be multiple bodies that they're going to be bringing in to kind of bring that competition along. It also kind of sounds like, yes, they want Jake Bates to be the guy. As Dan Campbell stated today, he was asked, like, hey, with Jake Bates, like, what's the comfortability level in terms of a guy that really didn't kick in college? We know that he did it last season in the UFL. He was awesome last season. There was a point of the season that he was up for winning the MVP about halfway through the year. It was a hot start. He had a great season, and there was a reason that multiple teams were interested. He just didn't really kick field goals in college. That wasn't really his role, and that was mainly because he was behind a couple good kickers in college. But according to Dan Campbell, the main thing that he really touched on there is, that he likes the guy. He has an aura about him. He has a confident aura as a kicker. He loves that there's consistency seemingly within his routine as a kicker. And also he touched on, like, hey, we have to put him in as many high-pressure situations as we can right now in training camp, but also in basically regular season games, it sounds like preseason games, like the best way to find out is to throw him out there, is to put him in the action. I mean, we've seen the Lions go from one kicker to another during the season. Like, kicker is one of those spots that can happen as long as you have a guy that, that you know of, that you're willing to bring in and you feel confident with him stepping in. So the Lions are going to be searching for that. I'm sure they will sign someone here soon because now they have a couple roster spots open. They'll sign somebody to bring in for competition, but that sounds like it's probably going to rotate. Like, we could see multiple bodies. And then, of course, even guys that aren't necessarily on the team, because we'll probably only come in with one kicker, and I would assume that's going to be Jake Bates. Hopefully, if everything works out right, it's who's going to be on the practice squad. Who's that guy the Lions feel like they can call up and bring back if they need to? That'll be really the key for what that competition to me is going to not only bring out of Jake Bates, because obviously you want to push him and make sure that he's at his best and he keeps striving for more and better, but also if you ever need a guy during the season. So that's the main news. I hate it for Michael Badgley, man. Get well soon. That's terrible. I don't know how it happened. It sounds pretty terrible, though, just from reading that off of Google of how something like that could happen. All injuries stink. We said in the last show, injuries stink. Otherwise, outside of that, Brian Branch, Jameson Williams were not there at practice today for personal reasons, but they were excused absences. We'll see if they're back tomorrow. Michael Badgley, we just touched on that, out for the season. Christian Mahogany, I guess he was still not participating, but you guys may be able to clarify this. I couldn't really tell if he was actually at practice and he just really wasn't going through like team drills because of the illness, or if he just like wasn't there altogether. I think he wasn't there, but kind of sounded like, depending on what I was reading from, that he actually may have been there. Either way, though, really like no practice today for him with the illness. So we'll see where that's at. That's day 3. DJ Reader, this is the big one, though. This is the big positive today. DJ Reader was at practice, working out with trainers today, doing technique work with dummies. He's still on the PUP list, but he was running around, he was jumping, he was moving around with the Lions. So, again, like Dan Campbell told us, like the injuries healed for him, it's about building up the strength, right? Feeling like comfortable to put him into the action. Next week, I believe it's next week where you get the pads on for the Lions there. And that's the excitement. That's the positive news today. It's like, hey, DJ Reader ain't fully back, but he's not that far away either from what we've heard, from what it sounds like. And then finally, Marcus Davenport, Jahmyr Gibbs continue to do their walkthrough drills, those kind of things, but not really going through team drills. So just wanted to update, all the kind of updates there with a little graphic. If I missed anything, please let me know. High Dose, when does the NFC North show start back up? Hey, man, we've had a couple people ask about this. That's awesome. You're speaking of the roundtable, I'm sure. Yeah, you said NFC North. The roundtable, that I believe is going to start in August. I haven't got like a exact date. I don't know if I know the exact date, but I believe it's going to start in August. At very latest, it'll start during the regular season, but I'm pretty sure we're doing preseason content as well. Let me double check, see if I have an exact date right now. Let me check real quick because a couple people have asked this. I I don't think we have an exact. Oh, okay. Actually, no. I think early August. I think early August is when we start. I don't have an exact date. I don't want to say it in case it's wrong, but early August. I think the NFC North roundtable is may pop off again. So I would say around the first preseason game for the Lions, we're probably going to be back and making content. So not far out. Another UFL guy. Yes, another UFL guy. So we can go to that graphic here of who the Lions have brought in for the workout today. Hey, can we get like Andre Smith or something? All right, Lions. I mean, yeah, you were close, and then all of a sudden we've got whatever. I don't know what that is. Andre Zamite. I feel like there's a lot of letters in there that like make certain sounds that aren't as they seem. Like Andre Schmidt. Is this Andre Schmidt? Hey, hold up. I mean, is this Andre Schmidt? Chad, let me know. People that like understand English way better than I do. Is this Andre Schmidt? If that's what it is, that's actually fire. I can rock with that. Anyways, this is who the Lions reportedly had brought in for a workout from the UFL this past season. He was an undrafted free agent in 2023 with the Chicago Bears, then was waived on August 8th, so he didn't stick around that long with the Chicago Bears, and he had a pretty spectacular career with Syracuse. His worst season, I think I listed it here at the bottom. Yeah, in 2021 when he was 9-14, specifically going 3-6. It sounds like they also changed holders on him, which could have led to some inconsistencies. They had a different special teams coach that came, or a different special teams coordinator that came in. But for Syracuse, he got off to an extremely hot start. In his second season, I believe he was redshirted. He won the Lou Garza Award with Syracuse, and you can see in 2022, his final season with Syracuse, statistically speaking, he was really strong. He had a over 80% field goal percentage in his career with Syracuse. I believe it was like 80.5%. But you can see that 2022 season, 8 for 8 from 20 to 29, 5 for 6, 30 to 39, 5 for 8, 40 to 49, 2 for 4 from 50 plus, and a 54-yard long. But then specifically with the Battlehawks in the 2024, this past season with the Battlehawks in UFL, awesome statistically. 4 for 4, 20 for 29, 7 for 7, 30 to 39, 4 for 5, 40 to 49. Showed some distance off with a 61-yard field goal. I don't think he ever had anything close to that in college. I think his longest was 54 going into the Battlehawk season. So he showed off some real range there. And 6 for 10, 50 plus. Like, I can rock with that. And Dan Campbell actually spoke a little bit about, like, hey, what you would need out of the kicker position. And he kind of broke it down as like, hey, it's kind of just different for every kicker. You want to put them in the best position to be successful. It was very strange to kind of follow along of exactly what he would be looking for a kicker. It sounded like, that could definitely change if they're going to be aggressive based on fourth downs, things like that, depending on who their kicker is, based on like, hey, what do we trust of this kicker from this spot? But it doesn't also sound like, Dan Campbell's going to stop being aggressive, because his quote was, hey, we could still get 4 more points out of this. He kind of laid out 4th and 4. I don't think maybe it had any significance to it, but he did say 4th and 4 specifically. So it sounds like maybe that could be kind of the cutoff naturally for them. A lot of times when they're making that kind of decision on whether they want to go for it, whether they want to kick the field goal. But overall, this was the guy the Lions brought in, and we'll see if something happens there. But clearly he's seemingly coming off the best that we've seen from him. So on a positive swing here, we'll see if that happens or not. Is that Schmidt though, chat? Did I pronounce that right? Let's see if anybody says anything. Dose, I think I confirm the Schmidt thing is legit from UFL announced. Oh my goodness, it really is. Come on, man. Hey, come on, man. That's what I'm talking about, DT fan. Even if you're not like being honest right there, I appreciate you for throwing that in the chat just to make me feel good for a minute. Like, we got it. We got it. Like, it took me a minute, but we're there. So that, that feels good. Also, I want to throw this as well. Side news, it's not exactly like affecting the Lions right now, but definitely want to say congrats. Sounds like Jerry Jacobs is going to be signing with the LA Rams. According to Jeremy Fowler, corner Jerry Jacobs plans to sign with the Rams. Former Lions starter finds a new home in the NFC West. And as I put on X, like, it's about time. Happy for Jerry. Wishing you the best. Do your thing with the LA Rams. We'll see him week 1, hopefully. That's the goal there. So, I thought that was pretty awesome, because it's like, dude, someone needs to hurry up and make this thing happen. So anywhere that he signed, I was going to be happy for him, and I'm happy for him that he was able to land with the team. So that's great. That is legit. Okay, I appreciate it. Good look there. We nailed it. Andre Schmidt. I can pronounce that. We're good to go. Okay, so that's the Lions news. Yes. Yay. Hey, congratulations, Jerry, man. I'm happy to see that. So there's your news. Excellent. Anything? Okay, Ben, that's now you're talking crazy. Okay, Ben. All right. Anyway, let's get into this a little. Let's get into some of the notes that we have here. I didn't have as many like clips planned for this one, but I have just a ton of clips from different players randomly that I have saved. So if there's a specific player and I have clips on them, we're talking about them, I may just throw something up that I have, but I didn't like plan anything specifically for this video. I thought about going and getting some kicker like footage, but I didn't do that. Goff is 2-0 against Mahomes. I would rather see the Texans. You know what's weird? I read that out of context, but I don't remember what I saw today, but it was another conversation of like, oh, who can beat the Chiefs? And we saw the thing with if you haven't seen the Las Vegas Raiders, Trey Taylor, the safety from Air Force that's now with the Las Vegas Raiders, who like was kind of mocking because a fan had brought like Kermit the Frog, which is crazy, by the way. I mean, it's pretty funny though, to be honest. And then it seemed like Patrick Mahomes could pretty fired up about it, and I guess they'll see them in week 8. But you hear that. And I was just thinking to myself, I'm like, yo, what is Jared Goff's record against the Chiefs? I'm like, I know we beat him last year and he beat him with the Rams. So he is officially 2-0. Okay. So why does nobody talk about that? Everybody talks about the Bengals and their record. Hey, 2-0 against that dude. Okay. They gotta prove they can beat us. That's where I'm at with it. Patrick Mahomes needs to prove he can beat us. It ain't the other way around. He needs to prove that he can hang, because at this point I can't tell, so anyway, that's off topic. Just thought I'd throw it out there because that was kind of fresh on my mind. Glad JJ signed with the Rams. I can watch him play. See, there you go. That's what Colleen, that's what we're talking about. Okay. That's the response I was looking for. Not Ben. All right. Ben was just disrespectful straight up. But no, I'm with you because I do pay attention to the Rams too. So yes, that's actually a good point. Jerry to the Rams. Okay. Yeah. We're just going to stop reading those out loud. Great. Rams wanted to bring cornerback to okay. Mm-hmm. Did we pour one out for Badgley? That's so tough. Look, man. Do whatever you got to do. Prayers for Michael Badgley and all these guys that are going through these serious injury. I mean, that's the worst, bro. It's one thing to get hurt and be like, oh, man, I'm going to have to extend and wait for a while. But a full season thing, these guys are working all off season for this. And then it's like, dude, we're not even in a training camp. And here we go. We're out for the season. So all of these guys, man, hoping for a speedy recovery. But, just keep their head on straight because it's got to be very difficult throughout an entire season to just not be able to participate. But yeah, no, for Badgley, this does stink because, he's not even just for us, for other teams. Like he's trying to prove himself, and kicker is such a revolving door that you have a good preseason. Someone might just pick you up and you might just end up on a team and they might need you during the season. But into some of these notes that we have, and I gathered these from different sources from today, but let's just dive right into it. Let's start off in the back end because the back end got some love today. The cornerback position, Terrion Arnold, Enos Rakestraw, they were asked about by Dan Campbell was asked about both of those guys. But the thing that stood out to me, and I got to start with this first, is the note that we had that our man, Mo Norris, the Fresno State undrafted free agent, who I'm going to continue to hype up. Mo Norris had a pass breakup today on Jalen Calhoun, the receiver out of Duke. That's what I want to see. All right. We haven't really had any notes on Mo Norris until that. So I just wanted to start with that first because I was pretty fired up to see his name tied along with that. But it sounds like right now Lions had a good defensive day. One source noted that the Lions red zone defensively allowed only 1 touchdown on 4 attempts. Offensively, it also sounds like kind of picking up off of yesterday where we talked about the receivers or the running backs getting involved, receiver drills, those kind of things. Craig Reynolds had a touchdown grab on Alex Anzalone on a wheel route, it sounds like. And look, Craig Reynolds got hands. Like we've said this before. You go back to college, very small school that he played at. Can't think what it's called. It starts with a K. But either way, the guy was like incredible as a pass catcher. He has that background. He just isn't much of a separator. But honestly, it doesn't surprise me that he made a touchdown grab today on Alex Anzalone and good coverage, it sounds like. But also Sione Vaki was getting involved as well in the passing game, had some nice grabs as well, apparently. He also shook James Houston with the ball in his hands in open space. So we know that's a real battle going on for who's like running back 3. I think they could both make the team. I think there's a scenario where that could happen, but that is a battle right now. And it sounds like Craig Reynolds had a big play today, which is great. Hendon Hooker, that's the other one. So Hendon Hooker, who today seems like things have been getting better. Like Dan Campbell touched on, like looks more accurate right now, kind of calm within this offense. And he specifically talked about how Hendon Hooker, has been able to pick things up from going back to their spring track practices and kind of carry it over early into training camp. And he's not really having to like reset. Okay, here's what we're looking for. Kind of go over the same things again after having that break, because that started off with the secondary and where he was speaking of Enos Rakestraw and Terrion, how they've improved since that time. And he said kind of the same thing about Hendon Hooker there as well. He noted it as a small step, but as a step forward, and that there is an actual competition there between Hendon Hooker and also the other quarterback, who's, again, his name is slipping my mind here. Let me get it. Come on now. Hold up. Pause. Let me find it. My goodness. See, this is what gets me, man. The other quarterback. That's crazy. We just talked about him yesterday. Just too many names, man. That's what it is. Nate Sudfeld. Nate Sudfeld. Okay, so that's the other quarterback. Yeah, Nate Sudfeld. So there is a legitimate competition. I don't think there will be. All right, we know who quarterback 2 is going to be. But anyway, sounds somewhat positive there for Hendon Hooker. There was also like notes of like, okay, holding the ball too long, staring down a receiver a little bit too much in certain spots. Specifically, it sounds like in red zone situations, some inaccuracy, overthrowing some passes, which we talked about yesterday specifically. Like he will sail some throws, he'll miss some easy throws as well. But man, timing is everything. And that's really going to be the key to Hendon Hooker, as we touched on yesterday, getting the ball quickly. We just saw Tua just got his big money. Timing is everything. It makes you're just not missing reads specifically there. So I guess there's a positive. It sounds like he's stepping in the right direction. But specifically with the back end, as Dan Campbell said, there's been an improvement from spring. They've retained the information and the coaching that they had from that time. And he really just discussed like, hey, it's a transition that they have right now that's been a real positive, all the new additions that they've had to the back end. And this is really their second chance to kind of learn the install defensively that they have and that they've improved. So he touched on 2 notes, specifically Terran Arnold. He said Terran Arnold's willingness to go challenge guys at the line of scrimmage is something that he likes, and he feels like Enos Rakestraw is instinctive in the back end. Those are 2 things that you could see, right away, like being willing to challenge Terran Arnold. I thought that was the best trade in coverage, press ability, so that makes a ton of sense. He's also just built to do that. And then to say Enos Rakestraw instinctive, right? I can remember when we first did our reaction, it was day 2, it was after the draft, and that night we did the live stream. And the first thing I was like, yo, this guy jumping drag routes, jumping crossers, those kind of things. So to me, that kind of points back to that too. But it's also a little bit, I think Mosley has some of that instinctiveness too. Like it'll get him into trouble sometimes, but he's instinctive. He plays fast. He also mentioned having Mosley back, into this defense. And Mosley even said today, like with all the chippiness that we hear that's going on, sounds like Brock Wright and Derek Barnes got into it a little bit. Levi and Craig Reynolds got into it a little bit. It didn't go too far. There was no real fights that maybe broke out. Frank Ragnar broke up one of those. But Emmanuel Mosley, as he said today, like, hey, we want to go out there and hit people. Like that's kind of where we're at right now. They just want to go hit each other. And, I think say that's a good spot to be in. Brock Wright said they're just having fun at this point. So it sounds like things aren't going too far, but the competitiveness is truly there. And I would think also when you kind of see the same names over and over, it's like, you be around somebody too long, things kind of get like, okay, at some point, there's going to be some heat between these 2 people. They've been around each other way too darn long. And it feels like, you have a team that continuously is bringing back a lot of the same players or seeing each other over and over. You might have some of that feistiness come out. Like, okay, I'm tired of, you doing this and we're going against each other. You hit me like this. Like, okay, I'm going to light you up next time. Like that kind of thing. Positive. It's competition, but it doesn't sound like anything's going too far. You know what? I don't know. Is what leg did he tear? Anyone see? I don't know that. That's actually a good question. I don't know. I mean, either one, it's going to be a problem, but you're right. I have no idea. Baki time. I'm looking forward to hearing Hooked on a Feeling this preseason. Hooked on a Feeling. I don't know that song. Is that a song? I don't know what that is. Maybe I do, and I just don't know the name. Mo Norris is, as a DOD 2.0 bubble player to watch this year officially is nice, and I'm going to get psyched for that routine segment. Can we get some intro media for this? I got to reread that. Mo Norris as a DOD 2.0 bubble player to watch this year officially is nice. And I'm kind of psyched for that routine segment. Can we get some intro media for this? Hey, look, man, bro, I'm going to be riding with the whole Mo Norris is like that dude to watch this year with all these UDFAs. That is the guy to keep your eye on. I'm going to stick with that until it's not the case. But I think especially because it's the back end, we have all these new pieces and there's a lot of energy back there of what we actually have. He'll be the guy that gets overlooked. I just need to see potentially him playing different positions, being able to prove some of his versatility there, because I think if he can add that, it'll really give him a shot to make team. I don't doubt that he could be effective on special teams. And that's step 1 to making the squad, is that he could be effective there. I don't doubt that he could be effective there. Honestly, I think he could be more effective there than maybe guys like Stephen Gilmore, who's 5'8", 176. Like, I think that he can bring that to the table. So maybe if he shows a little position flexibility, he'll get his way onto the team. And the routine thing, specifically if we're talking about kickers, I don't know what that looks like, to be honest with you, but I would say that makes sense that you'd want to have a routine as a kicker. So, I mean, I just talked about a long snapper and him having maybe issues with the snapper with the other kicker. And in the NFL, again, that consistency, it can drive consistency. So that's good. Mo Norris, the NKL from Fresno State. Okay, I don't know. Wait, NKL. I don't know what that is, but yes, from Fresno State, that guy, that's what I'm talking about. For situational reasons, should we have a defensive back with speed and a receiver with height? That's an interesting question. So Okay, so today, right, we hear with the receiver position. We'll start there first. It sounds like Caden Davis and Donovan Peoples-Jones both got some first-team reps because there was no Jamison Williams today. It also sounded like Darius Fountain still did some good things with the Lions, who is one of those bigger physical receivers for us. It sounded like on special teams he made some plays as well, alongside guys like Jalen Reese-Maven made some plays. Sam Laporta showed up on special teams, but he showed up on special teams down to punt with inside the 10. So again, he's one of those guys that's in that spot. Like, you got to give us some special teams value as well. So there's that aspect. Caden Davis is a guy that I'm just kind of fired up to see. I think he's the other guy at the receiver position that has a chance. But you're saying with like height, should you have a guy with height? I don't know. I don't know that there's ever, like, outside of like a Hail Mary, like a situation where the Lions like just want a guy that's straight tall. Like, I feel like if it's naturally within your offense where you have a guy that's 6'3" and you get a matchup, you're like, oh, that's not right. Check into it, throw up a fade to him. I don't know that we like would necessarily come in with a personnel package to say like, yo, our guy's just bigger than his, and that's what we're going to do, because the defense would adjust to that. I just think it's different at this level. But I kind of get what you're saying, though. I do think that we do need a weapon that can play a little bit more of that style. Like, he doesn't necessarily have to be super tall, but he has to be able to win a different way. Like, we have to have a guy that can win a different way than Caden Davis, and Fountain could be that. Donovan Peoples-Jones could be that. So I do think that you have to have that. Now, your point about a cornerback with speed, I don't really think that is that important, to be honest with you, because, again, I think we have speed at cornerback. Like, Rakestraw can go. I think Terry Arnold plays fast. Brian Branch, if he's playing more safe, you won't really notice it. Emmanuel Mosley's very fast. So I think we have speed. I wouldn't just have a cornerback that's just straight fast, like in a straight line. I think we have speed. So that position, I would say less, I think, is of, something there. Like, it's like, hey, if you matched up against Miami, you're going to play different coverage just regardless. Like, I don't think we have a guy that we can just keep and be like, that's the guy for Tyreek. Like, I don't think we have that. But we just probably play different schematically. We just wouldn't do the same things. So most teams have to do. So less with that, more with receiver. I agree. I think with receiver, yeah, you have to have the different body types to win different scenarios. I think that's what Lions are going to lean on. I mean, Goff said it today, right? Like, the number 3 position still open, or not number 3, but he said like there is a spot to be had. Like, there's opportunities because Josh Reynolds is no longer here. Khalif's going to make the team. Saint's going to make the team. J-Mo's going to make the team. But there still is different body types, because as much as I like Khalif, like, there's certain roles that Khalif just won't be that effective in. And that's where Peoples-Jones, that's where Antoine Green, it sounds like Antoine Green's doing some things. He had like maybe the biggest reception today from what I was able to gather, a 15-yard crosser. Sounds like the defense is on point. Like, we talked the last 2 days, we showed some clips of some big plays being given up. Sounds like they didn't give up any kind of like big play specifically, which is good, especially after hearing what Dan Campbell said. And then it's like, hey, we don't go to practice and we just see a whole bunch of big plays being given up, because then that maybe pulls back a little bit. And the one play that we did get from the Lions is this one, which was beautiful, by the way. This looks like it maybe could have been one of their red zone drills. Goss was probably at like the 25-30 here. And you can see the ball kind of duck out a little bit towards the end. You can see it kind of wobble a little bit, but the accuracy's there. And it's actually something that I've realized now, seeing it more up close, is like, you really can throw an accurate pass while still having a little wobble on that ball. Like, I think a lot of times you see the spiral and you're like, oh, that's money. Like, obviously you could throw an accurate pass, but you can still throw a very catchable ball, especially if it's these touch passes, and it can still have that wobble, but yet still be consistent. Like, some guys seemingly just throw the football with the wobble more consistently than others. Yet for whatever reason, it hits the spot consistently. It's weird. All right. But now I've seen it. It's like, okay, that's actually getting where it's supposed to be. It's very catchable as a touch pass. It just isn't as, crisp. Like, it just has a little, and this one isn't that bad. Like, there's definitely worse than this, but you could see it tail a little bit towards the end here, that little wobble where it kind of gets flat and comes back, but it's very catchable. The ball is exactly where you'd want it, right? No defender has a shot here. I mean, this is money. It doesn't get any better than that. And you talk about just putting the ball where it's supposed to be. And then obviously you have St. Brown, who, what else can we say about St. Brown, bro? Like, first off, the awareness, as we always talk about, to just kind of dial down, park his 2 feet to get both feet in bounds, and then to finish, hands catch. It's not even a body catch here to finish. And you can see the ball kind of move a little bit, but he still maintains control up from the ground on that grab. So I don't know, just a couple things there. Those are kind of what you expect. Those are kind of what you expect from St. Brown at this point. That's just what he does. That spiral hurts my soul. Yeah, it's definitely not crisp, that's for sure, but it's where it's supposed to be. And it's like, hey, I mean, that's a catchable ball. Like, if this ball was strong, I believe I would catch it. I don't know if I get my feet in bounds. I believe I would catch it. I have no problem with it. I would have no problem catching that. Maybe I would. Hold up. No, I don't think I would. I think I would catch that. All right. Anyway, though, was there anything else? I think there was another thing I was going to show that the Lions posted. I don't think they posted really any more clips, though. The only other clip was like some hype thing. I guess some Jack Campbell content. I guess they just posted this. So I don't know what that is. Okay, they don't really have any more clips than that. Lions gave us one clip. They're like, here you go. You can have one clip over and over. That's fine. Hey, Tyreek Hill's left-handed. I saw that today. I didn't know that. Tyreek Hill is left-handed. Again, it has nothing to do with anything, but he is left-handed. Let me make sure I don't miss on any notes. So, second team offensive line. I actually have a graphic for this, but we discussed this a couple times now, what that looks like. One thing I'll take away is it sounds like it's the same second team offensive line. I don't know if guards are still rotating, but it's the same second team. Dan Skipper, Nite Mutai, Michael Neese, I want to get on top of my head here. KO'd, and then at right tackle, Colby Sorsel. The one positive I would say I would pull from that, because if the guards are still rotating, is at the tackle position, at least through 3 days now, they are, and again, pads aren't on, so it's much different. We'll see. Things may change more when pads come on. But at least through 3 days, they're like leaving consistency for the tackles to play in the role, find consistency in what they're doing, rather than trying to move these guys all around. Like, it's like, hey, let's really give you a chance to just dial in this position, Colby, and just play right tackle. Like, we feel like we can move you to guard, but we want you to spend all of your time at right tackle. We'll see if that ends up being the case, but if it does, I think that actually would make a lot of sense. And Dan Skipper, like, stick him in at tackle. We don't need to play you at guard anymore. We have tons of guards. Part of the reason we talk about bringing all these guards to a value is like not having to put Dan Skipper at guard anymore. It's like, hey, we don't have to do this. Colby can do this, or one of these new guys can do this. Michael Neese can do this. Not having to put Skipper at guard, because that never felt right. It just never felt right to put him at guard. Tackle is clearly where he's built to play. I don't know. It's just a little side note, but I thought it makes some sense if you just want to leave him there to try to build consistency at one spot. On to kind of the depth offensively, right? So we know James Houston's playing that sandbacker position. Matthew Betts, they kind of rotated back today, so it sounded like James Houston was with the second team. Betts was now back with the third team today. It sounded like he also had a sack today. He would have had a sack because of some pressure that the Lions brought. Multiple players did. Emmanuel Mosley, Mekhi Wingo both had sacks. It's good to just get them in the backfield. You wonder a little bit about, like, okay, pass protection then, because these are depth players, so they're probably going against the backup offensive line. Wingo, Mosley, Betts are probably going against the second string offensive line. But then with the back end, similar thing. Emmanuel Mosley now back to working with the third team today, it sounds like. Is that what it was? And then Amik Robertson working with the second team today. I think that's what I don't want to get that wrong. No, excuse me. Amik Robertson with the third team, Emmanuel Mosley with the second team. Flipped. It's back to kind of like day one. And Amik wasn't really there day one, but it's back to kind of day one. Amik with the third team, Mosley back up to working with the second team as kind of like the backup at slot position, I believe. And that would leave, if Brian Branch isn't going through team drills, which is a little bit weird because I don't know who's playing in the slot then with first team. But if he was, then it would leave that slot position up for grabs, because Brian Branch, when starting, obviously he can start there, but if they're going to take him off the field, they're going to go their two safeties, or if they want to put him at safety, then that position's completely up for grabs. So that's a battle there. They're rotating those guys back and forth. It's super early right now, but I don't know who has the leg up. Probably Mosley, just because he was here and he's been here. But I mean, Amik has a 2-year deal, so I mean, just based on the contract, you would think it'd be Amik by far. Okay, anything else I don't want to miss here? Oh, Hendon Hooker. Sounded like he had a nice play today. He broke the pocket, got out of the way of John Kaminsky, which, got to give some love. That means John Kaminsky probably did something right. Got into the backfield, forced some pressure. Haven't said a lot of positives about Kaminsky recently, but hey, at least he forced some pressure today, it sounds like. Forced some pressure. Hooker got out of the pocket, but made the play off schedule, completed a pass to Calhoun. We've heard Calhoun's name pop up a few times as well. So, we'll show him a little bit of love as well. We talk about the other receivers. Haven't given much love there. He also, Hendon Hooker, threw touchdowns to Shane Zylstra, Donovan Peoples-Jones in the back of the end zone, which I guess was resembled similarly to what we've seen from Josh Reynolds, kind of boxing somebody out. So the comment earlier, having that size. Like, we talked about this in a earlier Dodcast episode, and someone was like, oh, we don't have that guy that we can throw fades to. And I was like, well, we don't really do that, right? Like, we do a lot of things on the front of the end zone, right on. Hey, break the plane. Sit down, St. Brown, just kind of sit him down. Even Laporta does things like that. We either do that or we do a lot of the back of the end zone stuff where it's like, hey, maybe it's a throwback, or maybe it's like we start here and we work our way to the back of the end zone for first, second read, then we come back to the deep dig. So those kind of things. So I don't know. I mean, that sounds like that's what Peoples-Jones did today, which a lot of times usually to Josh Reynolds' role, he's not like a front side read. He comes to the back side. He's number 3. And that way you can put it in the back of the end zone. And it actually fits really well into Peoples-Jones' skill sets on paper, in my opinion, because Peoples-Jones' skill set is vertically, he can get up in the air really well. He has great vertical. He does really well on the sideline as well. And he also just has a more physical build to not be pushed out of the back of the end zone. So all of those things put together makes a ton of sense that would be the role that he's able to play. And like I said, Vaki also had a touchdown today as well, receiving from what we were able to gather. And, Vaki, hey, I got the Vaki thing right here. I'm fired up. Vaki's going to be a problem. Dan Campbell said that Mosley will be starting. He said that he will be starting. Mosley will be starting. I don't know that I buy. Well, not for the season. Maybe for the training camp. I don't know that I buy that to be the case for the season. I would actually. I don't know. Here's the thing though. I could see a world in which Emmanuel Mosley was better in the slot than Meek Robertson. I could buy into that, right? Because Meek was a little bit hit and miss there. He's built for it, but I could see a world in which that was the case. The thing is, though, see, that's why. See, Ben Lyon, see, that's why he got me, because I didn't hear that today. You know what I'm saying? Ben, you ain't slick, dog. But it's worth thinking about, because I'm like, I don't know why he would say that. And he wouldn't say that, right? He wouldn't, like, confirm the starters for the season. But I thought maybe he was just speaking on training camp, like he's going to be the one, there's going to be the two for training camp right now. But if I'm just thinking through it, like, I could see a world in which Emmanuel Mosley played better in the slot role, especially in man coverage, than Meek Robertson. I could see that being the case, and I could see liking Meek a little bit more out wide. Maybe that could be the case by a small margin. But based on the contract alone, like, I would be a little bit surprised. And plus, you know, one of those guys probably will start. Like, if Brian Branch is playing at safety and they're putting him there with a 3-receiver set, someone's got to play inside. And then it would be Rakestraw, your rookie, versus Meek Robertson with the 2-year deal, Mosley. So someone's going to take it. Someone's going to take that role. I don't know. I still think there's going to be a lot of similarities to last year. I would love to see Brian Branch play a lot of safety this year. I would love it, regardless of the offensive, personnel they come out with. But I still could see us doing a lot of similar things to last year. Really, before Ify Melifonwu came back, which was, hey, 2 tight ends or fullback and back, 2 backs. We're going to put you're going to go to safety branch, and then 3 receivers. All right, go back down to your nickel position. And then when the season kind of came to the end, it was like, we're not going to put you at safety anymore. We're just going to leave Ify there. I could see it still being a little bit kind of like it was before Ify came back versus him constantly just really only playing safety. Still, though, if they did that, I would love it, because I think he has so much upside to play safety. I'm just glad he back, adds so much depth. Who is that? Oh, Mosley? Yeah. He basically said he could win the starting slot position. Well, that's okay. So that's well, I believe that. I completely believe that. I absolutely believe that he could win the starting slot position, because, like I just said, I mean, when you lay it out, you have Meek Robertson, who you can make the case from what we've seen historically that his best position is not the slot, it's wide. Even though he's had some good games there, that hasn't been a majority of where he's played. And Mosley hasn't either. And then Rakestraw's the rookie, and I like Rakestraw at both spots. I do. I like him at both positions, but I like him wide too. So, yeah, I think that position is absolutely up for grabs. And that, if that is the case, that would signify that they're going to play a lot more Branch primarily as a safety, and that the battle of Ify and Kirby is very legit, because someone's not going to be on the field a ton until, you go to 3 safety sets and things like that. So the secondary battle is actually disgusting, because a lot of these battles, we're talking about depth. Secondary, we're truly talking about who's actually going to be on the field. That is a nasty battle. I think we know who the 2 will be. We know Carlton. We know Terrion's going to be there. And we know Branch is going to be there. It's just where. Everything else feels like it's up in the air. That's what it feels like right now. So that'll be something to watch and monitor all preseason, all training camp. I want to make sure I didn't miss anything else. Dan Campbell spoke on the attitude that the Lions had. He said you have to have an attitude. You have to have an aura defensively, and that they early now have that. Dude, if you think about, Lions have a lot of guys that we could put into the same category of like, oh, those guys they're feisty, they're competitive, they talk crap. Like those guys, like Carlton would fit into that. Enos fits into that. Like clearly fits into that category. I would say Alex fits into that. On the defense line, it sounds like Levi does a little bit as well. Also, it sounds like Aleem McNeil had a sack today. Aleem had a sack. This was a note from, I think this was from the Lions website, who noted that the Lions went into a drill at the end of practice, maybe at the end of practice, but it was from their own 46. They had about a minute and a half. And on the first play, they had a completion to Amon-Ra St. Brown for a short gain, kind of get the drive started. Then it was Aleem McNeil, who had a sack, which pushed them to a 3rd and 12 position. So apparently Aleem McNeil wrecked the drill. And if that's against the starting offensive line, he probably then beat, unless you're blitzing, but this wasn't noted as a blitz, he probably then beat Zeitler or Graham Glasgow, which is very possible. And Frank was in the interior too, unless they were going against the back of offensive line. But with Goff, they usually don't do that. So Aleem had a sack, which then set up a 3rd and 12. Aleem did. Who did he sack? Well, he sacked Goff, from what I was able, because Goff was out there at quarterback. So he sacked Goff, which means that he was probably going against that first team offensive line. So he had a sack, and then St. Brown followed it up by making it a 4th and short. And then, yes, the tip pass, which ended the drill. So Glasgow or Zeitler. It could have been either of the two. It's probably not bad to bet on Glasgow. You know what I'm saying? They didn't they're not touching the quarterback. They'll just like blow it dead, right? So they won't actually sack him, but they'll get back there, and then they'll just blow the play dead. They won't actually finish the play. So, yeah, technically, I guess Goff could have escaped the sack, but we know that's probably unlikely. Like Kaminsky today, if that was Goff back there, maybe that turns to his. And now Goff will escape the pocket, but he's not gonna make somebody he's not gonna break the tackle. Once you get your hands on him, he's going down. All right, he's gonna protect the ball, he's gonna go down. But Hooker, on the other hand, he could actually potentially break a sack. That's a possibility. Aleem, bro, and that's the thing. Aleem's already coming off an awesome season, so the idea of him breaking out again. Aleem's going to make so much money this offseason if he builds on last year. He's going to make so much money. J-Mo and Leaf are so much faster than anyone we have on defense. Shouldn't they get open a lot? I mean, it really depends, man. And that's the thing. It's that's why I say play speed, because if that was the case, everybody would just do what Miami does. But that's the challenge, right? When you play Miami, right, you may not have the speed. So what do? You press them and you put two safeties on top to say, hey, we're going to bracket everything in. That's what a lot of teams do. But those guys are fast. And Khalif is fast, but if we were just going straight 40 for 40, Khalif, I think, unofficially ran somewhere like the 4.3s. J-Mo, we don't even know, to be honest with you. But yeah, those guys are fast, and that's the reason they could take the top off. But it then comes back to okay, schematically, what are you in? Who's transitioning better? Because if you're just running a straight go route, you shouldn't be getting cooked as a cornerback unless you're playing press man. Then you might give up a step because the safety is going to help you over top. But unless you're playing zero coverage, so the ball shouldn't be able to get out, right? You should be able to get home before the ball's even out to take that shot play. So there's always the counterbalance, right? The defense usually has help that they're playing into. If they're not playing into help, he's probably not pressing the guy. He's probably playing off coverage. He's probably giving him if it's J-Mo, probably 7+, or he's in zone coverage and he's hey, you can't let it's cover 3, dude. You got the outside 30. You can't let him get deep. So on paper, yes. In man, one-on-one, on paper, yes. But even then, when they go to one-on-one drills, they shorten the field. They don't let you go across the entire field. So now it's okay, who actually can transition better? As a cornerback, can you anticipate where the routes, can you tell that he's breaking his route? Then can you step on it? So all of those things, if physicality is going to throw off timing, you're not going to be, for the Lions, their goal at cornerback is not going to be letting guys run clean. I'm sure that's the reason why Dan Campbell says challenge guys. They're not going to try to let these guys run clean off the line. They want contact. They want you to feel it early. They want to throw off all that time. They want to make you work back up the speed. And so yeah, there's so much little nuance that'll go into that. But I hear what you're saying. Golf is good for 4 to 5 spin out sacks a year. Okay, hey, look, man. See, I'm about to 4 to 5 a year. I'll take that. We'll take scoot. Okay. Hey, I'm fired up for that. I'm fired up for another scoot call. That's what needs to happen. Gonna need a replacement for Badgley. We will. We'll have to do that. Now, I think we have our starter. But if you're just joining, John, appreciate having you here. I don't think I put it in a title, but this is the player that we brought in for a workout today. We'll see. Don't know that they'll sign him or not, but they may. I won't go back through this because I already showed it. But yeah, we'll see. No idea. How about sets? Oh wait, Poor Dan is going to have no idea what you guys are talking about. Too young for cassettes. Big Pen and cassette. Or are you wait, Big Pen. Hold up. What did I miss here? Because I know what a cassette is. Bro, we used to have cassettes, man. We used to have those. But are you talking about, you said, Big Pen? I don't know what Big Pen is. Big Pen and a cassette. I don't know. From a Big Pen? Are you just talking about the pen brand? A brand of pen? The Big? I don't know what that is. I'll be straight up and honest with you. But I know what cassettes are. I mean, that was early. I wasn't I was using them, but I know what they are. Okay, I know what they are. They brought 4 kickers in for workouts. And that's the thing too. That's the only name that I've actually seen announced. Outside of that, it was it was Dan Campbell saying that they were gonna bring in multiple guys. Okay, so this actually just got announced. They brought in 4. Okay, so we actually do have the 4 names now. Okay, let me go through this. Okay, because there's veterans out there too. Lions hosted 4 potential kickers: Matt Amendola, Lucas Havrisick, Matthew McCrane, and Andre Schmidt. So 3 on top of Andre Schmidt they brought in for workouts. And this was just announced. So yeah, I'm just seeing this. So yeah, they brought in some different. So someone's going to be here. Someone will get signed. They'll bring in somebody. On a minimum type of deal. We'll see. I don't know. Hopefully it's the guy we just talked about because we already had the stats ready and that'll just make it easier. But yeah, we don't need to do a full breakdown of that right now anyway because, I don't think it's necessary. Outside of that, we can just look up stats. To be honest. So let me make sure I don't miss anything else. Sounds like it was super competitive today. I just didn't have as many notes today, but I got a lot going on this page. Talked about the kicker position a little bit. Wouldn't be aggressive. I think we hit on everything. I really do. Yeah, I think we hit on everything. I think we hit on the main notes that we had to there. So we'll just have to see what happens at the kicker position. But like I said, I plan on being there tomorrow. So I plan on being there tomorrow. So we'll have I'll have notes from that practice. And I don't know, I might be shorter, so it might not be the same. I don't know where I'm going to be recording or doing that live stream from. Probably from there, to be honest. But we'll see. I might come back here and do it. We just replaced that poo-poo UDFA Michigan kicker. Wait, did we officially sign somebody? Or are you talking about Michael Badgley? I don't know. And that's the thing. It sounded like he was doing good in practice too. Like depending on who you're reading, they're like, hey, man, this guy looks like the best kicker. And I was like, all right, he's doing his things. I mean, his stats, weren't really strong until his final year, but Louisville to Michigan, I don't know. I'm going to miss watching Brian Branch play nickel. Do you think he'll be better at safety? The problem with it is you're going to see less of him, right? So if he's not playing in the nickel position, you'll see less of him on the screen. I think that the more important thing will be there is he'll make us better at safety. I think him playing at safety makes the Lions better because I think it really allows them to open up the versatility of their defense. It allows us to get the best pieces on the field. I think it makes us better. I don't think it's a lock that he won't play safety nickel anymore. He's still going to play some nickel. I think he'll bounce between both. And he actually still may primarily be a nickel corner. It's as Dan Campbell said, like he hasn't confirmed like this is where he's going to play for sure. But like as he said, like we want to see what he looks like now. Let's see what he looks like at training camp. Can he pick it up? Does he understand it? And I think what we saw last year is he looked good from that spot. So they're going to blitz him. They'll put him in man coverage roles. I just think it's going to make us better as a team. We'll make him better. I don't know. He was really good as a nickel. He was really good. I mean, he was a great blitzing. He was a great blitzer, which really got to show up there. Maybe a little bit harder to show that off from the safety alignment, unless he's just sitting in the box. Run defense, still going to be necessary either way, so he'll still show that, but you'll probably see less of like the natural TFL. So that'll probably be the biggest downside is losing some of that aspect because he was an elite run defender. I think Enos Rakestraw is close to that. That was my highest grade for him. We went through him. It wasn't to the Brian Branch grade, but it wasn't far off. So maybe if he's playing in there, I think he could help us. We know Mosley will hit those kind of things. They also carry like better builds, like lengthwise and stuff like that to maybe get off blocks. Brian Branch was just elite at like evading blocks and things. But yeah, no, to me, like I think he just makes us better if he's in the safety role. I think he makes us better than he does at the nickel spot, but he could play great at either one. Like I think he's great at either position. I mean, truly, like he played well in the very small snaps we saw him at safety. Things that probably have to get better there, but he just closes airspace so well that I think he'll fit in either spot. And then for us, just like getting the best on the field. But I think having a guy that can do that at safety can kind of take away from some of the matchups that teams try to find against us, especially when you're playing so much man coverage. And I think it'll minimize some of the concerns from him being in that spot as well if he had just a true corner playing that role. But that's still also up in the air because if nobody plays the nickel spot well, if Mosley looks terrible, if Meek Robertson's like, yeah, you're better out wide, and Rakestraw can't handle that, like you can't put him out there. Like you got to put Branch because Branch can handle both. Like as much as like a lot of this is kind of projection, Branch handled it really well. He handled it really well, pretty much whatever you asked him to do from the nickel last season. I mean, the 11 for 26 in man coverage when primarily relying as a nickel corner, he handled everything that was asked him really well. And even the receptions he gave up, like it wasn't like there was space. I mean, everything was very contested. He just doesn't have like kind of that length and stuff always to make the play on the ball. But yeah, I think it just makes more sense for a scheme fit to make us a better team if he's at safety. I think that's kind of the vision there. But anyways, man, thought Mosley was out till later. Yeah, Mosley is back. Mosley's practicing right now. I'll end it on that graphic actually, which is this one. If you're just joining, kind of the injury updates that we have there. And again, we have some really positive news today with DJ Reader getting out there, running around, doing those things. Not off the pup list yet, but he's out there. So he may not be far. Do you have a point of emphasis for tomorrow? What position group? I don't, to be honest with you. I'm just kind of going. I have no plan. Ken, I have no plan. If there's a position y'all want me to watch, I will. Thing is, though, because they're not pads on, probably won't have much of an emphasis on offensive line, defensive line outside of who's maybe like okay, second units out there or third units out there, maybe like who's playing where. But in terms of like results, I'll probably try to focus more on the skill positions just because they don't have pads on. If they had pads on, maybe I'd flip that, but I think I'll try to focus based on what I can see. Probably try to focus much more on the skill positions just because it's just a completely different game when that's the case. So, receivers, DBs, those kind of things. Defense in general. Where's Branch actually lining up? What does he look like when he's if he's running around in team drills? If he is, I don't know if he's going to be. I want to see what the backs look like. I want to see Craig Reynolds, like how are they utilizing them, pass catching, that kind of thing. Hail Mary Sports Big Board had Arnold as number 3 and Rakestraw as number 10 overall players. I don't know who that is, but man. No, they had him number 10. as like every player in the draft. Hey, if that works out, yeah, we just had the best draft of all time, dog. Hey, Dave, if that's the case, we may have had the best draft of all time, straight up. We got the number 3 and number 10 player in the draft. I hope so, man. I hope they're right. Reader was a given injury. No surprise there. Yeah, no surprise, but he's already healed from it. It's just like, when is he going to come back? So, like, he's coming off that torn quad. It was going to take time. But the positive is like where he's already at, because they said day 1, and then he said he's been on schedule, but we really never knew what the schedule would look like. But now that we're hearing he's like running around and stuff, it's like, oh, shoot, he may not be that far. So, I mean, like I said, I don't really need to see him in training camp. I just want to know that he's practicing. That'll make me happy, because he's going to be so huge for this defense. I think we hit on everything. Amik, and put him at safety to replace Diggs. Yeah, Amik's a dog, dude. I'm still kind of shocked that it actually happened like that. That was one of my favorite moments from Bleacher Report this last year. Was we didn't sign it, but it was talking about trade candidates, and then that night watching Green Bay lose on an Amik Robertson interception in the end zone. Like, it's beautiful. It was like, oh, there he is, and we see him. Seeing McNeil and Reader together, yeah, it's gonna be nasty, John. That's gonna be nasty. All right, let me check out last show's comment section, and then we will get out of here. This was a little bit shorter, but we also didn't have as many notes, so it just kind of is what it is. Let me see though. Leave a comment, man, after the show ends. Let me know what your thoughts are. For some reason, that thumbnail did pretty well, and I don't know why. All right, comment section for Michael Banks blew this thing up. Tyson, you talking about wanting to touch dunk in your league takes me back to the time you posted about yourself dunking on a channel. Keep it good work, and I just want you to know I appreciate you putting the best lines content for you. Hey, my man Tyson, I appreciate you, man. Shout out to Tyson. I don't think he's in the building right now, but now Tyson's been a legend for years. He's been here for so long, man. A lot of you all have, to be honest with you. Ken, Hungry Panda, John. Let me also see the next. Let's see the next comment. This comment. Oh, Michael Banks. Can't wait to see you on Saturday. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. NFC North champs. Let's go. Boot up. I see you. I see you. How is San Fran going to fall apart? Young quarterback, endless comp draft capital, top 3 head coach. Oh, we got a San Fran fan. He was not feeling that. All right, let's do this. How are they going to fall apart? Young quarterback. Well, they got to pay their quarterback. So there's that. There's the first domino. I actually like their quarterback, to be honest. So I don't have an issue with paying their quarterback. I like him. I don't think he's great. I think he's got some Baker Mayfield in him, to be honest with you. So there's that. It's paying him. That's going to be the big thing. But yeah, youthful. Yeah. Endless comp draft capital. What? Okay, wait. He's saying endless draft. You're saying endless draft comp capital. So you're saying like you're good. Well, I would say in theory, yes, if you continue to draft extremely well and you could just let guys walk, but you still might not getting the value because the comp pick at best is the end of the 3rd round. But I hear you. It's a fair point. Top 3 head coach. Not going to argue with that. Top 3, Andy Reid's up there. And yeah, you can put him at 2. You can put him at 2, man, because he makes it work. And honestly, like, I think McDaniel's somewhere up there. I think Campbell's up there, but I'm not mad at those 2 points. I think the middle one was kind of whack, but I'm not mad at what you said there. I like the comment. I can appreciate that pushback. I just believe it's going to happen. I just think they're going to fall off. I think they're getting older. I think their offensive line is very unreliable. And I think that when you look at where the contracts are going, once you pay Brock Purdy, I think a lot of things are going to kind of shake loose for them. So I just don't. That when I say fall off, I don't mean they're going to be terrible. I just don't think they'll be representing the NFC anymore. That's my point there. And I'm much more confident in that than saying Kansas City is going to fall off. I don't think Kansas City is going to fall off. Their defense is too darn good. But I think San Fran is going to take some steps back. I think San Fran's got some legitimate holes. Anyway, though, everybody has holes. So, we'll see. We'll see how it all shakes out. They're going to be a good team this year, though. But I don't think they're going to be representing the NFC. That's the point I'm making. Anyway, man, I think we hit on everything. I appreciate y'all joining. We went earlier today. It seemed like y'all kind of like the late streams. We may also potentially be back this weekend with a NCAA 25 stream. I don't know if that'd be here on the other channel, maybe here, but we may be back with that. Hopefully, that's the hope. We'll see if that happens or not, but it's a possibility that we could do that this weekend. That'd be fun. I want to start a dynasty over there, and it looked like most people said PS5, so that's what I'm aiming for. Not a lot of people said Wii, so unfortunately we can't use the Wii, but more people were leaning PS5 than Xbox, so I think that's what I'm going to lean into as well. All right, man, I think we hit on everything. Leave a comment. We'll check it out next live stream. And, have a great weekend. I will see y'all tomorrow at some point to talk about what we know. And then obviously some new Doseby Gaming. See, I might put on Doseby Gaming. I don't know. I might put it on both. I might just live stream to both. See, shoot, Ryan's on Wii. See, man, this is what I thought this would be the problem, bro. Everybody's on the Wii. Someone said they were on like the Nintendo 64 or something. It's like, all right, I don't got that, but hey, the Wii, yo, the Wii's a classic, though. You can't go wrong with the Wii. All right, man, we gonna get out of here. I'll see y'all tomorrow. We out. Unless some news breaks, then we might do a video or something. All right, we out. 5 p.m. is a good time.